Hey y'all! Welcome back to Your Southern Lesbian. So nice to see you back here in episode 4. Quick lesbianic observation of the week. The name Hole, missed opportunity for lesbian band. Anyway, let's carry on. First of all, thank you again to those of you who responded, who commented, who are sharing and caring with the rest of the group, because I don't know, I just think it's super fun to see your responses, to see if I'm just like out here in La La Land by myself, y'all know? If this is stuff you're actually relating to. First of all though, I went to see Love Lies Bleeding. Have y'all seen that yet? Oh my God, filmed by Rose Glass, the one with Kristen Stewart and Katy O'Brien and Ed Harris and the Franco boy, Dave Franco. Yeah, I'm a lesbian. I don't remember dude names. Anyway, I thought it was a great film. I thought it was super fun. If you guys liked the movie Bound, it's got that kind of like campy, macabre, small world, but great character building. So anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And y'all, that Kristen Stewart, that girl does not have a bad angle. I mean, they really tried to make her look bad. They gave her a mullet and kept her like greasy, like I just wanted to wash her hair the whole time. No bad angle on that girl. She looks fantastic. But again, I digress. So let's talk about some comments that y'all threw at me this week, either on the comments section or via DM or just out in lesbianic life. Do y'all remember that skit that Ellen DeGeneres did a long time ago where she talked about her lesbian life and her lesbian toaster and her lesbian oven and doing her lesbian laundry? Actually, I think she said gay. Anyway. All right, here we go, you big lesbians. How do we respond to the word lesbian? How do y'all feel about that? So let's start there. How do you guys, girls, ladies, they, them, I don't know. How do y'all respond to the word lesbian? What does that make you feel like when I call you a big lesbian? I call myself a big lesbian, first of all. I feel like I'm trying to reclaim that just a little bit because this is just me personally. When I was growing up, I was very ashamed of that word. I was terrified of it, mortified of it. And I had a friend who used to just shout it at me across the bar, lesbian! Yeah, he sort of desensitized me to that word. And I'm grateful for that because it took the power away from it. You know what I mean? Because when I was growing up, people used to say it in a derogatory way, like the word faggot, same thing, right? Very derogatory for the gay community, but we sort of tried to take that power away from those words, and it worked for us. How do y'all feel about it? I'm just curious to know. What are your thoughts on that? What do you prefer to be called? I would love to see just a quick bam, 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 bam. It can be one word. How do you identify? You know, just tell me. I'm just curious in this group. So how was your lesbianic week? Another person who wrote in, who apparently shall remain nameless, you know who you are, wrote in saying that, all right, so in response to last week's topic about the two femme lesbians, can two femme lesbians actually be a couple, or does one always feel like they have to present a bit more masculine in order for the relationship to succeed? So I got a few responses to that, and one person in particular said that she is in a femme-femme relationship, and a lot of times they get approached being asked if they're sisters. The dreaded sisters. Oh y'all, that is just the worst, right? And then when you actually admit that you're a couple, you know all that person's picturing is incest. Lesbian incest. Hopefully not. That's gross and wrong. It's so weird. And so that brought to mind, when she said that to me, it brought to mind actually also in lesbian relationships past, because I date feminine women, I have found that even if we're at a freaking gay bar, people assume that we're not together because we're two femmes. So oftentimes people would approach, usually my hot girlfriend, and hit on her while I'm standing right here, and I'm like, hello. Even if I say, oh, we're together, some of them just, they don't believe it, they don't care. Sometimes they're completely disrespectful of it and just continue to go for it. Y'all ever had that happen? I'm just saying, I do not care for that. Sometimes it's by men approaching, right? Which that sometimes I can understand if you're a random straight man and you're like, well, y'all can't possibly be together. But sometimes it's not, y'all. Sometimes it's the freaking lesbians coming up and just, you know, assuming that two femmes aren't together. What is it about the lesbian community that does that? I don't quite understand that because I can't imagine, well, maybe it does happen for straight couples. I don't know. Anyway, this brings me to the next thing I wanted to talk about with y'all, which was, what is it about the lesbian community that once we're coupled up, okay, relationship, we ride off into the freaking sunset and don't hang out with our friends anymore? Especially our single friends. There's something with lesbian couples that I feel, not all lesbian couples, this is a generalization, I know, but it came up again this weekend with a lesbian couple, friends of mine, and they said that they really don't have any single friends and that they don't, they don't do that. And so I asked them, I'm like, well, are y'all nervous that, is it because maybe somebody could come in and hit on the other one? And they both said yes. And I was just like, wow, so do we do that? Do we hermit up? Do we disappear into our little lesbian nests, not to reemerge with friends? God, I hope not. I mean, I do have some lesbian couples who are friends who do come out into the community. God bless you, thank you, because otherwise, what in the heck would I do? Where would my friends be? I'm ashamed to admit that I was one of those lesbians in years past, before I did therapy, y'all, before I did some work on myself. I would have totally been one of those girls that would have hit on your girlfriend, your spouse, whoever, because I used to judge. Let's see, which is more worth it? Getting this girl that I'm all of a sudden crazy about, or this friendship that I've had that maybe isn't great, I don't know. Y'all, I was terrible about that. I'm ashamed to admit. I know it happened once. It probably happened more than once, but not proud of that moment. And I do not recommend it to anyone. Coming from that perspective, I remember where my head was back then, and that was me being super insecure, thinking that I wasn't capable of actually making a list of what I wanted in someone as an equal partner, and the universe allowing that to come into me. So I would say yes to anyone that gave me that kind of attention. You know what I mean? So God forbid your partner gave me some attention back in the day and it was somebody I was actually kind of attracted to. Bad combination. So now, of course, I would never, and that is just, I can't even imagine, but back then, like, what the hell? Anyway, that brings me to, we need to be really secure with our partners. We need to have these conversations and have the understanding, right? And make sure that you're partnering up with somebody that you trust and is going to be there. And if I've learned anything, it's that you can't force anybody into anything. So hopefully you've chosen well and you've chosen someone that's going to be there for you, because those little trolls like old Ashley are out there, sadly. But it makes me sad, and it made me really sad to hear that comment, actually. And oof, yeah. Anyway, have y'all experienced that? And are you a lesbian couple that chooses to stay home because of that fear? And if so, how can we get past that? Are there things we need to talk about? What would make you more comfortable? What would make you comfortable in your relationship for you to have friends as a couple that might feel a little bit threatening? And they shouldn't. Like, you shouldn't have those people around anyway, but you know what I'm saying. What are the conversations that you should have with your partner? What are the things that maybe need to be relayed to those friends? Do you not say anything and just clip those people from your lives, which is what seems to be happening? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, y'all, because it's come up a couple times, and I thought it would be interesting to throw out to you guys because y'all are smarter than me. So tell me your thoughts. Oh, and last note I want to say about that too is that, especially if alcohol is involved, y'all, like, you just, woof, that gets into some dangerous territory. So I'm grateful every day that I don't drink anymore. Just saying, for all the reasons. Can we go back to Love Lies Bleeding for just a second too? For those of y'all that have seen the film, what do you think about the representation? Do you feel like those are positive lesbian characters? I thought they were fun. The ending of the film, did it feel satisfying to you? As we know, and I should probably do a whole entire episode on this, on the different lesbian films and television shows and characters and whoever y'all want to talk about, and the representation of us on screen. I know I've mentioned this before, and y'all already know this. This is nothing new, right? We all know that there is a plethora of very sad lesbian characters out there and sad endings for lesbian stories out there. Like, we want to see the girl get the girl, right? We don't want to see one of the lesbian freaking characters run off into the sunset with a straight man. Just saying. Please let the girl get the girl. And please don't make her a psychopath. I mean, y'all, Jodie Comer was awesome in Killing Eve. I'm not gonna lie, I watched the whole thing. I was mesmerized, and it was such a fun show. You know, in this case, I would have said, let the freaking psychopath have the girl. Ugh. The list goes on, right? There's no shortage. We can do an episode on that at some point if that's something y'all want to talk about. If so, send me your thoughts. Send me your characters. Send me your gripes. Send me your, like, yay, this one went great, because I can't name many that did. I'm struggling to think of one where the lesbian actually got the girl in the end, and it was a happy ending, and she was a healthy, sane character. Can you name one? I'm not flipping y'all off on that. Anyway, can you think of one? I cannot. I'm trying. I don't know. Anyway, I digress. And going back to let's talk about this for a second, y'all. And I know, I apologize again, I'm jumping all over the place, but to know me is to love me. This is my brain. This is how things come into it. So let's talk about the fact that lots and lots of lesbians, look, we know that we didn't have it easy in the beginning, right? Some of us. Mature lesbians of a certain age, for sure. Like, only in recent years, like, you kids don't know how good you got it. And I say kids, but whatever, you know what I mean. And God bless you if you grew up in a home where your parents were super supportive and you were able to come out in your teens. That is incredible. You should feel very lucky. And maybe you can share some wisdom with the rest of the class. But I think about that and I look at the lesbian community around me, and when you grow up repressing that side, not being able to express that side of yourself, right? So that means proms, all the things that the straight folks take for granted, as we know. Those are the things that we had to either put a mask on and go with a boy, and they were lovely, lovely boys, but that wasn't going with necessarily who I wanted to go with, maybe, for one of those. I was in love with a boy in high school, though, y'all. I really was. And I did go to prom with him, so there's that. But I'm just saying, for the other year where I started kind of realizing and waking up to what was going on, you start having those butterflies for the same sex, and you're like, wait, whoa. You can't take that person. Anyway, long story short, what I'm saying is, when you're not able to start practicing dating at a young age, I wasn't able to start practicing dating at a young age. I was going with a boy, and that meant to me that, I wasn't practicing my real feelings. I was suppressing them. So I was putting on a mask. I was putting on a show. I was just going along with what was expected of me because I didn't feel safe to come out. So that means that, unfortunately, we don't start the real practice until later on. For me, I didn't really start the practice until I was about 29 years old. That was the first time I came out to people around me in my work environment. And it was forced because she freaking sent flowers to me at work. And everybody's like, who are the flowers from? Where are the flowers from? Man, and I appreciate it. It was very sweet of her, but it kind of forced me to come out. And I should have come out by 29. It was time. I don't blame her for wanting to date an out lesbian. My point being that I didn't really start that practicing of expressing myself, and I didn't do it properly. I was like a freaking child. It was like I was a teenager learning how to do this. So a lot of mistakes were made. That was a bumpy road, my 30s, and even well into my 40s. So it wasn't until mid-40s that I finally took a big step back and went, whoa, I've got some work to do, right? And I know there's a huge percentage of the lesbian population who has been through similar. And some of y'all still might not have done it, because where we all congregate is where? A little louder for the people in the back? The bar. That's right. The pub, the bar becomes your place to sort of take the edge off, unwind, de-stress, right? You go have drinks with friends, you forget your worries, you laugh, you joke. And all that's great. I'm not saying that's not great, but you've got to process those things. You've got to process those feelings if you never have, because they will stay there. They will affect you in your relationships until you actually expose them to the light, look at them for what they are, and figure out where they came from and how to get past them. So if something happens to you in early childhood, it does affect the way you now armor up, let's say, in your relationships with other people. So for me, what that looked like was learning how to peel those layers back with that onion and allow more of myself to be seen. My true self, my real feelings, right? And that takes work. I highly, highly recommend if you are too shy to start therapy one-on-one with somebody. There are so many books and audiobooks. For me, I just dove headfirst into a ton of audiobooks, and I'll list some in the notes for y'all if you're curious. I learned that I had CPTSD, complex PTSD, just because there were so many things that happened early on that caused me to then just avoid my feelings. Diving into all that, again, unpeeling those layers, was a super healthy thing to do. I mean, shit, I feel sorry for the people that dated me back then. Very unhealthy. So anyway, that's my little PSA for the week, because I want you guys to be healthy and have the resources that you need coming up and for your relationships that I didn't have. And I want us to be able to talk about that stuff. So if you need more resources, if some of these aren't resonating with you, then hit me up, or y'all drop into the comments if there were any resources that worked for you. I am not the end-all be-all of lesbianic resources here, so y'all please share with class. Like I said, if there's a book you've read that helped you a lot, drop it in below if you feel comfortable sharing. And finally, I just want to say thank you to everybody who supported me throughout the popcorn fiasco. Big lesbian fail. I did go back to that meetup group, y'all, and God bless. The woman that runs that meetup is fantastic. Jay, if you're listening, thank you. I have so much fun at your meetups. I cannot urge y'all enough to go try these lesbian meetups. I hope there are some in your area. I know that there are some in the larger cities, so look if you're anywhere near a larger city for lesbian meetups. Here in London, like I said, it's fantastic. They've got, you know, you can go out to the clubs with younger folks and drink and dance and all that if you want to. So I went to two this weekend. One was one where we were just walking around in this open air market and went to a cafe and went to a vinyl shop and went to see art, and it was just really cool. Got to meet some ladies, it was fantastic. The other one, we went to see the Love Lies Bleeding film, which was super fun. And then we all sat around and chatted about it and shared our lesbianic experience. So I just, you know, if y'all are looking for community, I cannot stress it enough. Please, please be brave. Please go by yourself. It's okay. They don't bite. And if they do, you might want to keep them. I don't know. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all your comments, all your support messages. I truly appreciate it, because it was very mortifying and really hard to walk back into that meetup by myself and deal with all the questions in the comments, but everybody was beautiful about it. They really all were like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened to you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to the last episode. Thank you so much once again for being here. I appreciate you so much. Please comment below on anything that we just talked about. Love, love, love hearing your thoughts. Love seeing what y'all have to say. Love hearing what else you want to talk about. Let's keep these conversations coming. Shoot me your responses. Let's see what comes up for next week. At this point, y'all are kind of leading the show, and I kind of love it. So thank you. Thank you so much again. Have a fantastic week. I'll see you next time. Bye.